Okay. Okay. Hope this is recording. Mario A. Yeah. Might as well.
Dear Mario,
Please come to the castle. I've baked a cake for you. Yours truly, Princess Toadstool Peach.
Peach.
She's a queen. No, she's a princess. And then we're being recorded. So, gosh, there are so many things happening in this game all at once, but we're being recorded. That's definitely the case. And that's definitely something that I could talk about. Like, if I were to do like a stream of consciousness-y sort of thing with this, and just see whatever comes to mind at any given moment, then that's something I would say. I'd say that we're being recorded. And that's what this game is about, I think. From the very beginning, this is about being recorded. You're being recorded by the sun, right? You saw Mario jumps into the sun in a photography kind of way, right? The photography of the game suggests that. So you're being recorded by the sun means a lot of things, but we're going to see what those things mean, because we're going to just be a stream of consciousness YouTuber now. Good afternoon, the Lakitu brothers. Right, so see, this is current events. This is news. I'm sorry, like, yeah, you can read that some of the time. I'm sorry. We cross a bridge. I mean, there's a lot to say about it. So, for one, for example, Mario's cap is red. So, welcome. Mario has red on his head, meaning he has already the sun on his head. You see? He already has the red sun on his head. And that, I think, is what he is being filmed by. That's what the camera is. The camera is light, the projector, the screen, or color itself. After all, this castle, if you look at it, it's the sky, basically. It's clouds on the sky. But they aren't exactly clouds on the sky, they are a painting of clouds on the sky. So we're surrounded by the light of the sky, or an open air place, but it's closed, and the floor obviously is white and black, you know, classically in yin yang kind of philosophy, signifying light and dark as well. But then it's interesting because we're being filmed. What would it mean though? Like, we've introduced this theme, but it's hard to know what it means exactly. Well, we're in war, right? That's the whole point. Right, exactly. You're in the middle, you're smack in the middle of a battlefield. You'll find the power stars that Bowser stole inside the painting worlds. So that's a place to start. We are in the middle of war. And not only that, but we land right by a cannon, which it's hard to know why this cannon is here. I think it's here because this is the first place we see, and therefore it needs to remind us that this is in some way war. Otherwise it would be just, you know, a general kind of green field. So let's just run around a little bit. So you see, that's why I think a cannon and bombs are being used to represent war. After all, this is bomb battlefield. So we are using bombs as a way to represent battle. Meaning that we are using explosives and explosions to represent battle. So it's funny because then, of course, the sun in some way is an explosion of some sort, an explosion of fire. In a sense, it's an eternal explosion. And we are here, I think, greatly surrounded by the symbol of the sun. On one hand, you're collecting stars, and the sun is a star. But you're also collecting coins, which are golden stars, as we see here. And stars also are, the sun. Light. So we're surrounded by the symbol of the sun and light. But in a context of battle. Shit. Whoops. Yeah. So again, let's try and keep this as a stream of consciousness rolling. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling. Fuck. We have light. We have screens. On the one hand, you could say this. You could say that this is where we are. We are in the screen of the game. But the screen, the very first place, is a battlefield. Now, as Bowser said, there's nobody home, right? Bowser was a disembodied voice inside the castle. So, there is something I think already about how the screen is an empty place. It's empty because there is no one kind of on it. The screen is simply the screen, right? Everything on the screen is the contents of the screen. You could say that what we're seeing right now is one singular entity called the screen, but we can divide it into Mario, grass, sky, King Bob-omb, into different things, right? But it's all essentially the screen, and the screen is simultaneously everything and nothing at the same time. It's a void, right, in Buddhist sort of terms. Let's see, Bob-omb, Lord of all blasting matter, King of kabooms and world order. How dare you scale my mountain? My imperial mountain top. And you'll never take away the power star. So it's funny because if we're going to make some sort of a connection between bombs and stars as exploding entities that connect to the Mario universe, then this is a king star. Oh no. We're fighting a king star, and it's the first thing that we've ever encountered in this game. We land in an empty house. Again, an empty house is such an interesting thing. It's like an empty being, an empty being of some sort. And the first thing that's happening there is that we are in war. Shit. That already seems so symbolic right from the get-go. This controller is really bad. I'm sorry. I don't know. Do I need to like? What do I need to do? Okay. No. Yes, this is bad. This is very, very bad. But we continue. We continue. We explore. We see where this takes us. It's okay. You just continue talking, and it's okay. This seems like it's already resonant with the rest of the game. This seems to be something that happens a lot and a lot and a lot in art and in games and in storytelling in general. I feel like there is something about storytelling that follows this rule sometimes, which is that the very first thing that happens is somehow a microcosm of everything else that is going to happen. And seems to be telling the same story that we're going to be seeing. So in this case, it's the story of Mario ascending up a mountain in troubled times and beating the king, which is obviously what he's going to do with Bowser. And ultimately, I think, with himself, right? I think Bowser is in some way like a materialization of his ego, in the same way that the dragon would be for heroes who fight the dragon in fairy tales. Okay. So ultimately, yeah. Let's keep searching for stars. Okay, so ultimately you are dethroning yourself, and I think that the point with this, see, this is so beautifully kind of shown by the Bob-ombs. Foot race. Oh god. The Bob-ombs are the same as Mario because they have a cap. They are capped by a fuse, a sparkling fire fuse. This is what Mario is capped by. He is capped by fire. Right, that's so funny. That's exactly it. Mario is capped by fire. That's what his hat is, and that's what his crown is. I mean, even the golden crown of kings, like Bob-omb was wearing, King Bob-omb, is, you know, probably just a representation of the sun. It's a halo. It means that the king is crowned by light or fire. And the fire of maybe of consciousness and maybe of like individual self-consciousness. It could be then that, you know, speculating a little here, by dethroning Bowser, what Mario is doing is he is dethroning himself. He is getting rid of his own cap symbolically, right? He's not literally getting rid of it. He's symbolically dealing with his own power and trying to diffuse it so that it doesn't cause problems in the world. So again, it would be the task of trying to get rid of your ego if it is in excessive amounts, right? So that you can functionally operate in a way that is socially peaceful. And see, that's why I think we start with war, because war has nothing to do with the individual. It's about groups of people. It's about entire groups. And so I think the thing is, Mario's red cap here represents his individual ego, his individual power to fulfill his own individual desires. In order for peace, there needs to be a certain melding or merging between Mario's individual desires and the individual desires of people around him, and therefore a kind of not a diffusing, but a slight kind of what do you call it, strengthening of his group identity. He needs to not only be an individual, he also needs to be a group, a part of a group, you see. So that's the dethroning that needs to happen, and that's what will prevent war. And it's funny because Bowser, in a sense, therefore, is, as symbolic representation of Mario's dilemma, is already kind of a helpful figure, because Bowser is a figure from the unconscious, and therefore is a figure that is, let's say, warning Mario of, I need to erase someone, don't I? It's warning Mario of the situation at hand in the same way the dreams would, right? A terrible nightmare, no matter how terrible, as in the case of Bowser, is, if it is symbolic, if it is therefore psychic content, as this game is it that you beat the big bomb? Cool. Beep 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 beep. So, what were we saying? Mario's group identity needs to be stronger. And Bowser, therefore, is a helpful figure, because Bowser is a symbolic content. That's the whole point. So Bowser, the first thing that Bowser says is, the house is empty. You're in an empty house. That's already, I think, a warning to Mario. It's saying, look, this castle that you were in, there's nobody home. Isn't that already kind of like some sort of statement about ego? Obviously, I may be reading too much into it, but there could be something about the fact that Mario is having to confront the possibility. Aha, right, and isn't that why it's all about screens as well? That is to say, Mario is realizing that he is not only Mario, he is also the screen, as everyone else is. That is to say, he is a part of the entire group of sentient beings. There is nobody home, right? A human blur. And Mario gains consciousness, he gains stars or light. The more he advances, he gains more and more light and sees things clearly in the paintings. But so the whole point then is that there is nobody home. That Mario is not exactly... It's so funny also because by using the metaphor of screens, as in, you know, Lakitu is the camera, what we're saying, just as this painting of the sky is saying, is that there is a division between Mario and me, the player, right? And you and everyone else, right? Anyone who's playing this game is divided into two parts. On the one hand, it's you holding the controller, and it's Mario running around. So there is nobody home in the sense that Mario is still, without me touching the controller, there is nobody home. This is just a, you know, it's just an inert pixel. It's an image on the screen. But at the same time, it's a completely living thing. Why? Because it is archetype. Because it is archetypal. Because the story that is being told is archetypal. Mario is extremely real and alive, right? In some ways more alive than me, because Mario is living through archetypal space, and therefore kind of like living more authentically, to call it something. Whereas I can easily be trapped in all sorts of habits, karmic habits that don't respond to my true kind of flame of consciousness. To say it that way. Anyway. And the stars open up doors. Light consciousness opens up new doors in this palace. We're in a palace. We're in a big palace. I think, therefore, this is a memory palace of sort. It's the psyche. Nobody's home. What Bowser is saying is, this is an enormous empty palace that Mario is exploring. It's the palace of his own mind. Of his own cap, therefore. Of his red cap. He's exploring his own red cap. Now, in a sense, the funny thing is, the Lagitu brothers cutting in with live update Mario Progress. Okay. He has to walk very slowly. I don't know. Okay. Ow. This is an enormous castle. Why? See, my father's what is it? My father's castle has many rooms or something. My father's mansion has many rooms. I think each painting in this castle is a room inside the father's castle, to put it one way. That is to say, Peach's castle is... See, I think that's the crazy thing. Peach's castle is all of these worlds. It's not just the stone building that you walk in and then go into the paintings. No, I think that, like this place I'm in right now, right? This big tower is part of Peach's castle. The snow level is part of Peach's castle. The lava level is part of Peach's castle. Peach's castle is an enormous, enormous, multi-leveled area filled with spaces. And it's ironic because Bowser's warning is true. Nobody's home. But after all, look at this. Everyone's home. It's filled with people. It's filled with enemies. Piranha plants, bosses of all kinds. So there are a lot of people home. But these people are here in the same way that a dream would be, in order to teach Mario the fact that he is nothing. So ironically, there is a lot of people home in order to teach Mario that he is nothing, that nobody's home, that he is nothing. Oops, fuck. And obviously paintings are what he's entering because we, the players, are entering into screens. So this is what we are doing. The screen is Peach's castle. You see? So I am in Peach's castle right now. You are in Peach's castle. It makes me so mad. Right, yeah. Ugh, this controller is so bad. I can't remember what the buttons are. Fuck. Shit. Okay, that's it. Okay. Boom. It's just 3. I might as well do it. I'm tired. But I think I'll just go through this. It's okay. Hello. This controller is terrible. It's funny, he already has like an injury there. You're hurting exactly the place where he already was hurt. This is about trauma too then, somehow. And he completely accepts It's weird. Anyway. Enough. Enough. Yes, we are in the painting. Isn't that trippy? Like, literally, we are inside the painting. And there is nobody home. And the painting is teaching us that. That is to say, art is teaching us this. The archetypal story of art is teaching us precisely this fact. That we are everything and nothing at the same time. Right? The fact of Buddhism, the fact of all kind of mystical traditions. And it has to do with light in this case, because we are obtaining this knowledge through the senses, but also through the light of consciousness and therefore reason, of symbol. Well, this is a good place to stop, I suppose. I mean, I could go on and on and on, but